You accept whatever theory you believe, you must hold to these three premises. It must fit the Bible. It must fit the existing evidence, and it must fit the laws of science. That applies to any theory. Therefore, if you look at the theory of evolution, it doesn't fit. If you look at the gap theory, it doesn't fit. If you look at the day-age theory, it doesn't fit. If you look at progressive creation, it doesn't fit. Does it make sense? Always keep that in mind. That's why I keep showing this slide. I want you to get these three things so that they're stuck here. It must fit the Bible, it must fit the existing evidence, and it must follow the laws of science, whatever theory it is. So far, we've looked at the mammoths, we've looked at the quantity of fossil fuels, we've looked at subtropical evidence for subtropical Arctic and Antarctic, megafauna and large dinosaurs. That's what we're going to look at today, okay? And then we're going to look at amber bubbles. Next time, much longer life living fossils, water above and below the firmament, no rain before the flood, George Dodwell, and evidence for an ice age post-flood. I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you can see this very clearly, I apologize, but this is a look at the top of the world. Normally I carry a globe with me, a large globe, and it's in our shipment of stuff, but it's somewhere between here and New York, and so I apologize, I don't have it. But I found this on the internet, and I wanted to show you this. This is a look at the top of the world. This is the Arctic. Here is the North Pole. This circle here is the Arctic Circle. Okay? This is Canada. This is Alaska here. Can you see that? Here is Canada. Remember I showed you Axel Heiberg Island? Fossil trees. There's a fossil forest on Axel Heiberg Island. This is Ellesmere Island right here. Here's the North Pole. This is Ellesmere Island. And this is Axel Heiberg Island right there. This green line here is the tree line. Can you see that? Here's the tree line right here. No trees grow north of the tree line. And if you go to the tree line, the trees are about this tall. No trees grow north of the tree line, but we have fossil trees on Axel Heiberg Island and also on Ellesmere Island. And this is what they look like. This photograph is from Ellesmere Island. Remember, Ellesmere Island is this island right here. These are fossil trees on Ellesmere Island. And notice something very peculiar. The trees are stumps from trees growing in the ground. These are not trees that drifted there from somewhere else. These are stumps, fossilized stumps of trees that were growing in the ground. And these guys, you see they're wearing heavy jackets because it's cold up there. No trees grow there. Just wanted to show you that. I also wanted to show you this slide again, and remember this one is a slide that I shared with you before, last time. And I went home and looked at this slide, and I realized that what I had written on the slide made sense to me, but it might not have made sense to you. So I apologize. And so I went home and rewrote it. And this is what I meant to say, okay? This is talking about the mammoths. In order for the mammoths to have flesh on their bones, eyes and red blood cells well preserved, separation of water in the cells only partial, they had to be quick frozen. They had to be quick frozen. In order for them to be quick frozen, they had to be in the far north, where they are now found when frozen. Because why? Because remember, God opened the windows of heaven and He opened the fountains of the deep. Where Noah was, it was raining 40 days and 40 nights. But only in the north and in the south was it snowing and hailing and ice and storms. Only in the north and south. In order to be quick frozen, those animals had to be where they were found. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been quick frozen. Otherwise, the eyes would not be preserved. Otherwise, the red blood cells would not be in good shape. Otherwise, the water would have separated from cells. They had to be frozen where they were found. Does this make sense? Yeah, that's what I meant to say, and I apologize. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. In other words, they were frozen on location where they lived and where they ate. If they were frozen, quick frozen, where they lived and where they ate, then the region was subtropical. Why? Because remember, the researchers said that some of the ones that have been found had subtropical vegetation in their mouths and in their stomach. So do you see what the evidence is telling us? The evidence is telling us that the North Pole and the South Pole were at one time subtropical. Make sense? Okay. Now I want to look at the megafauna. The megafauna, the large animals, okay? Let's see. Excuse me just for a second. I just want to bring up some notes here, so I'm going to just change this screen. Okay. The megafauna, remember what we're talking about, is large animals. All right? Many people talk about the large dinosaurs, but not many people talk about large animals. Have you heard about large animals? Not often, right? You hear a lot about the dinosaurs. I want to talk about the large animals. We have evidence for large animals. Conditions before the flood supported much larger animals. We know this because we have the fossils of large dinosaurs and other megafauna. We have the skeletons. Can you have a skeleton if we did not have an animal? Two have to go together, right? So I want to show you the evidence for the large animals. This is a giant nautiloid. This was found by some University of Arkansas students in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Let me show you where it is. I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. It is this cone-shaped thing, this very long thing, right here. This is the longest one in the world. It's the largest one in the world. This is a diagram of two that are fossilized in a rock. This is not that one, okay? This is not that one that I showed you, but this is in China, I believe, and this is a piece of rock, and this is two of those in that rock. And they're these long shells, and if you see the animal, it looks like a little squid. I shouldn't say a little squid, it's a squid, and the squid lives at this end. The feet are hanging out of this end of it, and then the body goes up into the shell like that. Did you see the size of it? 2.44 meters in length. It's very big. The plains of Nebraska, rhinoceros as tall as a house. Reconstructed bones of the rhinoceros Baluchitherium or Paraceratherium or Indricotherium or Transuraliscum. I don't know why they give it so many names, but it's the same animal. And this fossil that they found, the reconstructed bones, show that this animal was 5.5 meters tall at the shoulder. 5.5 meters tall at the shoulder. Do you follow what that means? This animal is going to be on all fours, right? And the height from the ground to the shoulder here will be 5.5 meters. It's a large animal. A fossil shark from the genus Carcharodon is approximately 3 times longer than the largest living shark in the same genus, the 6.7 meter great white shark. 6.7 meters is the length of today's shark. We have great white sharks that are 6.7 meters long. This fossil shark that was found is 3 times longer. The fossil shark is 20 meters long. Is it big? It's huge, 20 meters. Osteodontornis was an oceanic bird related to gannets and cormorants, but had a 4.6 meter wingspan. In the Miocene of Argentina, Big Bird was a somewhat vulture-like bird with wings equivalent to those on a Cessna airplane. Big Bird would weigh approximately 90.7 kg, and while standing could look a 1.8 meter man straight in the eye. If Big Bird was right here, I would be looking right at his eye level, right there. No other known flying bird approaches the size of Big Bird. This is from Fossil Giants of the Ancient World. Fossil Giants of the Ancient World by Leonard Brand. Leonard Brand taught at Loma Linda University. Are you familiar with that place? Leonard Brand, professor at Loma Linda University. No other known flying bird approaches the size of Big Bird. Giant dragonfly. Meganeura monyi. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Dragonflies are found in the fossil record with a 2.5-foot wingspan. Do you have dragonflies in Singapore? Yeah, I see lots of them around like botanical gardens. How big are they? Right? It's about like that, correct? These fossil dragonflies they found, the wingspan is like this. 75 centimeter wingspan. Giant beaver fossils. Estimated weight, 218 kilograms. Estimated length, 2.5 meters. This picture, this is a drawing but this is a representation of the modern day beaver, and this is a drawing in comparison of the giant beaver, Castorides ohioensis. This is a fossil of the giant beaver. These fossils have been found in 29 locations in the United States. This is a photograph of 3 different skulls. This one is white, this one is black. No, sorry. This is black because it was found in the tar pits. Okay? It has nothing to do with color at all. It was found in the tar pits. But this skull and this skull are both of the giant beaver, and this is today's beaver to compare. It was a huge animal. The giant ground sloth. The giant ground sloth was bigger than a modern elephant. Anybody know how big a modern elephant is? If you go to the Singapore Zoo, you could see an elephant, right? How big is it? Anybody know? Average elephants. Sorry? Anybody? Yeah, but what about weight? Weight. The modern elephant, and forgive me because I don't have this in metric, okay, but the modern elephant weighs, the average elephant weighs 2 tons, 2 US tons, 4,000 pounds. A large elephant today weighs 5 tons, 5 US tons, 10,000 pounds. That's a large elephant, okay? And the biggest elephant on record is 10 tons. I'll show you that again later. The biggest elephant on record is 10 tons. Here we have a 4.3 meter Australian land turtle, a bear-sized beaver, and a 4.6 meter glyptodon as large as a brown bear. I'm not sure exactly what a glyptodon is, but it was some animal as big as a brown bear. And again, this is from Leonard Brandt, chairman of the Department of Natural Sciences at Loma Linda University. Harlan's ground sloth, the largest and most common ground sloth found at Rancho La Brea tar pits. I don't know if you know what the tar pits are, but tar pits are places where oil settled and evaporated and turned into thicker tar-like substance, and then animals walked in and fell in there and got trapped in there. The La Brea tar pits are found in Los Angeles, California. The largest, most common ground sloth found at Rancho La Brea is Harlan's ground sloth. It stood over 1.83 meters tall. It weighed 1,587.6 kg. It was huge. Here is a Baluchitherium. Remember the rhinoceros on the plains of Nebraska? This is the one. This is the skull of the Baluchitherium compared to a man. And here is an artist's drawing of what the animal looked like, what they think the animal looked like. They think it looked like this. Here's a baby here, the mother apparently. Remember this is not a dinosaur. This is a mammal. The dinosaurs are all reptiles. This is a mammal. This is a huge mammal, 18 feet tall at the shoulder, the one they found in Nebraska. Here's another one found in Pakistan. They estimated that it weighed 13.6 tons, 13.6 metric tons. Large animal, huge. It's a mammal. This is an armadillo. I don't know if you're familiar with armadillos. Armadillos live in southern Missouri. Armadillos are very interesting animals because if you frighten an armadillo, you know what it will do? It will jump straight up. I've not seen this, but my brother told me about it. He said he was driving in southern Missouri, and an armadillo was crossing the road. And of course, the lights from his car frightened the armadillo. He said it just jumped straight up, jumps about this high off the ground. The modern armadillo, the American armadillo, the body is about this long, and maybe, I don't know how long the tail would be. You have to add the tail, but the body is maybe this big, okay? Maybe this big. Large cat, a 10-pound cat or 12-pound cat. That's about the size of an armadillo. If you look carefully here, this is the shell of an armadillo. The head would be found in front of this area here, and the tail would be back there. That's huge. Ice Age armadillos, the size of cars, fossil shows. That's the headline. Here's the researcher. He said the animal could have been the size of a Volkswagen, would have been the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. Mr. Luna, he said it was the 5th such fossil found since 1998 in Cusco, South America. Refrigerator-sized armadillos once hung out in Florida. We're talking 272 kilograms and more than 1.8 meters long. This is everybody's favorite insect, is that right? You recognize it, right? Greatest enemy. You recognize it, right? This is a cockroach. Now, this is a specimen that has been preserved by somebody because the feet don't look right, but this is a modern-day cockroach. You see that? Here is a fossil cockroach here. Do you see it? This is the fossil cockroach here. Imagine having one of those fly into your house. Fossil cockroach. Was it big? It's huge. It measured 9 centimeters. It dwarfs the modern American cockroach, which averages 4.5 centimeters in length. Phobaramus pattersoni. Phobaramus pattersoni was thought to be the world's largest rodent. Same family as rats, mice, yeah? It was thought to be the world's largest rodent. It's related to guinea pigs, roughly the size of a buffalo. The largest rodent that ever lived, Phobaramus pattersoni, weighed 1,545 pounds, 700 kilograms. Now, I was on internet just the other day, and they found a larger one. They found a larger one. This one is called Josephus artegasia monesi, and the weight was approximately 1,000 kilograms, discovered in Venezuela. It was actually discovered in 1987, but they didn't release the information until 2008. So the largest one now is this 1,000 kilogram Josephus artegasia monesi. The largest rodent that ever lived weighed 1 ton. Was it big? The giant camel. It is estimated to have stood 3.6 meters tall, which would make it about twice the size of living camels. This is its leg bone. Here's a modern-day camel. This is the part just above the hoof. And here is the leg bone of this giant camel. I thought I had a picture of that. Yes. I apologize, I might have skipped over this. This is an artist's drawing of a modern camel and the giant camel. Comparison in size. A giant crocodile. This is the skull of a giant crocodile. And I think if you look carefully over here, you can see the skull of a modern crocodile. That skull that you saw, Peruvian explorers have discovered the fossilized remains of a giant 46-foot, 14-meter-long crocodile deep in the Amazon jungle. Once weighing 9 tons and with a 1.3-meter-long head, the crocodile is only the second fossil discovery of its kind in 3 decades. Huge. Giant bison. You've seen a bison, a buffalo? We've seen them just recently. There's a park near our place where they have buffalo roaming. And if you look at the horns on a bison, the horns are maybe this wide. Yeah? Maybe this wide, somewhere in there. Modern buffalo. This giant bison has 1.83 meter horn span. From here to there. That's the skull of the giant buffalo, giant bison. Dromornis sturtoni. They nicknamed this bird the demon duck of doom. The demon duck of doom. We have the whole skeleton. This is its skull. There's a man, I don't know how tall he is. I'm imagining that he's about 6 feet tall, or maybe 5'8" or 5'10" or something like that. This is Dromornis sturtoni, the demon duck of doom. Was it big? Have you seen any ducks this big recently? This is the femur and tibia of an emu compared to the femur and tibia of Dromornis sturtoni, the demon duck of doom. The short-faced bear, Arctodus simus. The comparison here is the brown bear, the grizzly bear, the polar bear, and the short-faced bear. It stood 1.5 meters at the shoulder, making it larger than the grizzly, brown, and polar bears of North America. Standing height was over 3.35 meters. If it stood up on its hind legs, is over 3.35 meters. Weight was approximately 1,800 pounds. I apologize, I didn't convert that to metric. This is the short-faced bear skull from the Rancho La Brea tar pits. Diprotodon optatum, the giant wombat-like marsupial. Estimated weight, 2,786 kilograms. Perspective, the largest marsupial alive today is the red kangaroo, which weighs approximately 85 kilograms. 85 kilograms, 2,786 kilograms. Was it big? It's huge. It's huge. First found in the fossil record in the 1830s. That's what they think it looked like. This is not the animal, this is a drawing. That's what they think it looked like. This is its skeleton, Diprotodon optatum. What is the importance of the megafauna? What the skeletons show us is that there were insects, birds, and mammals that were gigantic compared to today's standards. Not only dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were big. We're going to look at some big dinosaurs. But not only dinosaurs were big. The insects, the birds, the mammals were all big. And man was also big. all men who lived before the flood were giants. There were no small people before the flood. All of the people before the flood were giants. That's why the insects, the mammals, and the birds were also gigantic. That's why the dinosaurs were also very large. The dinosaurs are all reptiles. Most people know about the size of the large dinosaurs, but not many people realize that there were giant insects, birds, and mammals that also lived before the flood. That's why I want to show you the megafauna. And I haven't shown you all. Go online and do a search. There are many, many more that they have found. Look up megafauna. You'll find all kinds of them. And they're making new discoveries all the time. The creatures that lived, the animals, the insects, the birds that lived before the flood were gigantic. That's what I'm trying to impress upon you. The large dinosaurs. Okay, let's look at the large dinosaurs. I have a lot, and I want to go through them very quickly. I don't want to spend a lot of time on them. We all know that they're there. What I want to impress upon you with the large dinosaurs is that they lived. How do we know they lived? We have the skeleton. You can't have the skeleton if the animal didn't live, right? So I want to go through them rather quickly because everybody knows about them, and I want to show you what I think about them, okay? Here's a Brachiosaurus bone, leg bone. Here's a human leg from the foot to the knee. Can you see it? It's a little dark there. There's a human leg from foot to knee there. This is a Brachiosaurus leg bone. Here's a Brachiosaurus skeleton. Can you get the perspective? Here's the tail. There's the head. This is a 2-story building. I personally don't think they looked like that. But somebody drew it and they think that's what it looked like. All right? Okay. The estimated length was 25 meters. The estimated weight, 32 to 37 tons. Seismosaurus. Estimated length, 32 meters. Estimated weight, 22 to 27 tons. Argentinosaurus huiculensis. Estimated length, 22 to 26 meters. Estimated weight, 80 to 100 tons. Here's a drawing, a diagram. This is a 6-foot man. I didn't show you all of these, but we showed you Argentinosaurus. That is this one right here. We showed you Diplodocus, or I will show you. That's this one here. Supersaurus, I'm going to show you that one, and that is this one right here. Paralititan stromeri. Estimated length 20 to 24 meters. Estimated weight 65 to 80 tons. What I want you to notice here is how big and how heavy. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind, okay? The humerus measures 1.69 meters. This is what they think it looked like. Here is the humerus in a human arm. The humerus is this bone in your arm right here, the bone in the upper arm. So this bone here was 1.69 meters in length. Supersaurus, estimated length 40 meters. The scapula stood more than 2 meters tall. The scapula is your shoulder blade, right here. This bone right here in this animal stood more than 2 meters tall. Bruhathkyosaurus, estimated length 40 to 44.1 meters, estimated weight 175 to 220 tons. the largest blue whale that has been officially weighed, okay, the largest blue whale that has been officially weighed 177 tons. It was 110 feet long. And again, I apologize, I didn't convert that. 110 feet long, weighed 177 tons. Bruchhauschaiosaurus was longer and heavier than the largest animal that is alive on Earth today. Diplodocus, estimated length 27 meters, of which 6 meters is neck. Estimated weight 10 to 16 tons. This is what somebody thinks it looked like. Here's the tail. And interestingly, with the tail are these bones here. Scientists believe that these bones were necessary because the tail was so heavy that it needed some kind of support as it dragged along the ground. Here's the skeleton of the whole thing. The end of the tail is right there. It comes down here like this, and the head is way over there. Mamenchisaurus. Mamenchisaurus was found in China. The estimated length is 22 meters. Half of that is neck, 11 meters. This is what somebody thinks it looked like. Here's its skeleton. The head, the tail. Here is the location where they found it. I believe that this is a 30-centimeter ruler. It was huge. Camosaurus, estimated length 18 meters, estimated weight 18 tons. That's its skull. As a dentist, I take particular note that it didn't clean its teeth very well. This is its skeleton. Sauroposeidon, estimated length 30 meters, estimated weight 50 to 60 tons. Only 4 vertebrae were found with cervical ribs in place. The largest one, the largest vertebrae, measures 1.2 meters in length. What questions do these fossils raise? Both the megafauna and the dinosaurs raise these questions. What is the largest land animal alive today? Who knows? The elephant. The blue whale, notice very carefully, the blue whale is not a land animal. All right? The largest land animal alive today is the elephant. How much does the largest elephant weigh? Remember we talked about that? The average elephant is 2 tons. A large elephant is 5 tons. And the largest elephant on record is 15 tons. Those are US tons. Okay, I apologize, but those are US tons. The largest one is 15 US tons. Did you see that the majority of these animals are bigger than the modern day elephant? Not all. Remember this. There were big dinosaurs. I've shown you a whole bunch of big dinosaurs, but remember that there were also a lot of small dinosaurs. People who study dinosaurs say the majority of dinosaurs were small. The average size dinosaur is, do you know how big? Yeah, I've heard between chicken and sheep, the average size dinosaur. So these are the exception to the rule. These are really big, okay? But what I want you to notice is this. God has left us evidence. And what does the evidence tell us? What allowed the megafauna and large dinosaurs to survive before the flood? This is the question that comes up. Why are they not alive today? Why is there no animal larger than the elephant alive today? This is the question that it raises. Doesn't it raise that with you? Why only 5 tons? Why 10 tons, the largest one on record. Why only 10 tons? Why not 20 tons? Why not 60 tons? Why only 10 tons, the largest one? Why 5 tons, big ones? Why not larger? Why are there no land animals larger than the elephant alive today when we know that many much larger land animals, both mammals and dinosaurs, lived before the flood? The conclusion? Land animals larger than the elephant cannot survive under present atmospheric conditions. Does this make sense? They cannot survive. That's why we don't have them anymore. That's why we don't have those large mammals anymore. That's why we don't have the large dinosaurs anymore. They can't survive under today's present atmospheric conditions. Okay, that gives us another conclusion then, does it not? Before the flood, atmospheric conditions were different. Yes? Do you see, God has left us evidence. Remember how we looked at the sandstone trees. And by looking at the sandstone trees and the environment, looking at the evidence, we could reconstruct in fairly good detail, using the laws of science, the evidence, and the Bible, we could reconstruct what happened, how they got there. That's what I'm proposing we do. And what this evidence tells us, what the megafauna and the large dinosaurs tell us, is that atmospheric conditions before the flood were different. They had to be different. If they were not different, the animals could not have survived, same as now. Right? That's what I want to get across to you. Things were different before the flood. Next week, we'll continue on with more. Joan, I know that you asked questions about dinosaurs in the Bible, and I have it in the next section. Okay, I wondered whether I have it in this section, but it's in the next section. It's in the section on the theory for creation. Okay, so if you don't mind, we'll hold that till then. Are there questions? Yes. I'm not understanding you. I'm sorry. This July. Uh-huh. There were photos taken from just between 4 hours difference. Okay, right. The ice level at Iceland melt within 4 hours later. Also, in terms of Arctic Circle, we mentioned just now on the slides, where it just shows all the ice are there. But personally, China or where elsewhere is able to penetrate through with their ice or water or ship, they're able to cut away the ice and start to melt gradually. Will this be kind of something that eventually the whole world will be, consider the trend a climatic change? The water level will rise up? Yes. According to what was before the flood or before this creation? If I understand your question correctly, we have global warming. Now, some people are in denial. They say, no, we don't have global warming. But I think the evidence is pretty clear we have global warming. Don't you think so? If you lived up where we lived, I don't have a map to show you, I apologize. Do you know where Alaska is? Where we lived in British Columbia, if we drove by car 3 hours, first we have to go east and then north and then west, okay, because we're in the mountains. So imagine the route. We have to go east and then north and then west. If we could drive straight north, the time would be less. But if we drove 3 hours, east, north, west, we would be in Alaska. And we drove to Alaska several times. And there was a glacier in Alaska called Bear Glacier. And we lived in Terrace for 14 years. And during the 14 years, we watched this glacier melt incredibly. You could see it melting. It was melting going back. Okay, that doesn't prove anything because there are conditions there. There was a lake at the end of the glacier, people say. But take a look at things that are happening this summer. There are wildfires everywhere. Before we left the United States, one wildfire alone in Colorado, I think, could be Colorado, somewhere there, Arizona, had burned more than 200 houses. People's houses were gone because of the fire. And there have been fires in Utah and Wyoming and Colorado and New Mexico and California. And that's not the only place. It's very hot in Korea. I was talking to my wife's cousin. He travels to Korea, he travels to China. He said it's very hot in China, it's very hot in Korea. I don't have proof to tell you that global warming is taking place. But I have the Bible that tells us that the fourth plague in Revelation, the sun is going to burn men with scorching heat. Yeah? Now, flooding, water levels are going to rise. You cannot have all this ice melting and not have the sea level rise. It's going to rise. Glaciers are melting. We also traveled to Jasper National Park in British Columbia. Jasper and Banff are very famous. And between Jasper and Banff, two national parks, there are the ice fields, the Columbia ice fields. And we have walked up to one glacier in the Columbia ice field. We walked up to the glacier and actually climbed onto the glacier. And we went back several years later, and they have markers at the glacier showing you where the glacier was. And if you look at those markers, in 1960 something, they have a marker. And then I don't know how often they check, maybe every 5 years or every 10 years. So 1970, they have another marker, and they show you how much the glacier is melted. Then 1980, they show you how much more is melted. 1990, they show you how much more is melted. And it's all marked. And we went back, and we had walked on the glacier, and where we had walked on the glacier is now stony ground. The glacier is melted. It's gone way back. Ice is melting. Sea levels are rising. There is going to be flooding. But let me ask you this, will there be another worldwide flood? No. There will not be. People are beginning to think there might be another worldwide flood because of the warming that's going on and the ice that's melting, but it cannot happen. Why? Because of the Word of God. Correct? I do set my bow in the cloud as an everlasting covenant that I will never flood the world again, the entire world. Doesn't mean there won't be local flooding. There's lots of that going on, but never will there be a worldwide flood. There won't be another global flood. Does that answer your question? Somewhat? Yes? Right.
So maybe the other one is going to say they were not destroyed by flood itself. So to me, this statement is quite controversial in the Bible. We are going to say.
I don't know if I'm understanding you correctly. You're saying that I'm saying that they died because of different atmospheric conditions. Yeah?
They were not destroyed by the flood itself. So it means it's not, the statement is not answered by what scientists believe.
Yeah.
There's a sudden death to the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
There must be a catastrophic situation that they all get suddenly.
Yeah. Can I clarify that a little bit? Sorry, did you...
Not all going to die at the same time.
Right. You're right. Yes, absolutely. Remember this, there was a guy who built a boat. His name was Noah. Sorry, I don't mean to be facetious. Remember this. I want to make this clear. The majority of animals and man, all men except for Noah and his wife and 3 sons, died in the flood. All men died in the flood. The majority of animals also died in the flood, except for 2 of every unclean animal and 7 of every clean. Yes? What I'm talking to you about is not a dilemma. If you think about it carefully, we have all of the different dog breeds that we have today, including wolves and wild dogs and coyotes and dingoes, from the 2 dogs that Noah took into the ark. Did Noah take dinosaurs into the ark? That's the question, isn't it? Did Noah take dinosaurs into the ark? And the answer is yes, he did. And I'll show you that the Bible talks about them. We have evidence that they lived after the flood. And the dinosaurs that lived after the flood had to come from the ones that Noah took into the ark. Okay? Now, something else that I want to clarify, because there are some people who say, well, if Noah took a 200-ton dinosaur or a 100-ton dinosaur or a 60-ton dinosaur in the ark, there was no room. Yeah? But remember this. There are big dinosaurs and there are small dinosaurs. Nothing told Noah that he had to take a big dinosaur. Right? Why would Noah take a big dinosaur if he could take a small dinosaur? In fact, God is the one who sent the animals. So God could have sent a juvenile dinosaur, could he not? God could have sent a small dinosaur. You know, maybe a ton or maybe a couple of tons. Sent the small dinosaur. Noah could have kept it in the ark and then it survived after the flood. And I'll show you further evidence in the future, in future presentations. I'll show you that we have evidence for the existence of dinosaurs after the flood. Okay? And these dinosaurs did not survive the flood. No. All of the dinosaurs were destroyed except for the ones that Noah took into the ark. So all the dinosaurs that lived after the flood had to be descended from the ones that Noah took onto the boat. Yeah. Yes? Right. Yeah, let me say a couple things. Remember, there's true science and false science. Remember that God is the author of all scientific laws. I want to make that very clear. No man authored any scientific law. Take any scientific law. Which one do you want? Law of gravity? Did we make it? No. We discovered it, correct? But who made it? God. Take the law of photosynthesis. Here's the law of photosynthesis. CO2 plus H2O, sunlight, chlorophyll, produces C6H12O6 plus O2. This is the law of photosynthesis. Does it take place in Singapore? This law is God's law. Therefore, it holds true around the world. Any law that is God's law cannot be changed by man. Now, there are man-made laws, correct? Example, in Singapore, in the United States, we drive on the left side of the road, and in Singapore, you drive on the right side of the road. That's a man-made law. So, therefore, in Singapore, I can say, let's drive on the right side of the road. Let's make a law that says we're going to make cars right-hand drive, correct? Right-hand drive, yeah. So Singapore, we're going to have right-hand drive cars. In America, let's make cars left-hand drive. That's a man-made law. And therefore, I can change the law. I want to tell you that every science that we know of has laws. There are laws for chemistry, there are laws for biology, laws for physics, laws for math, there are laws for photobiology, there are laws for entomology, name any science and there are laws for the science. I want to make it very clear. All of those laws are God's laws. And we cannot change any of them. And that is the test as to whether the law is God's or not. So, what I want to make clear is that there is true science and there is false science. True science is in total harmony with God because He's the one that made it. He's the one that invented the laws. He's the creator of everything. What is out of harmony with God is the theory of evolution and false science. False science are man-made stuff. Conjecture, opinion, philosophy, conclusions, deductions, hypotheses, theories. These are not in harmony with God. But God and science cannot be out of harmony. It cannot be. And you can test it. Because if any law was created by God, we may have discovered it. We may have discovered it. The laws of thermodynamics were discovered by Newton. So we have the second law of thermodynamics. Remember, we talked about that. God created that law, and therefore we cannot change it. If we could change the second law of thermodynamics, I would be the first one there. I don't like being 60, I like being 20. The reason I am in the shape I am in at 60 is because of the second law of thermodynamics, which I cannot change. Because it's God's law. Does this make sense? So I want to make that very clear. We have got to understand the true science and the false science. And we have got to understand that God's laws and science are in harmony. I don't know, I forgot the second part of your question, or I'm sorry. Carbon dating, yes. I'm going to talk about carbon dating in specific later. So can we hold that off? Do you mind? I'm going to talk about carbon dating particularly. Now, I haven't looked at some of the other dating methods because there's also uranium, lead, and something argon, I forget. There are a number of different radio dating methods, and I haven't looked at all. But I've looked at detail at carbon dating, and we're going to address carbon dating, you'll see. And you'll see that the way scientists have used carbon dating is not accurate. It cannot be accurate the way they've used it. I'll show you. I'll show you using the laws of science. Okay, I'm not going to show you my opinion or my philosophy. I'm going to show you from science. Okay, I have slides and we'll address it later. So if you don't mind, we'll hold that one. Okay, a little bit later. Yes, Dave.
The story about Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, yeah. Well, remember when we talked about amalgamation, there are two laws that the devil cannot break, and we cannot break them either. One is what? No kind can cross with another kind. God's law, Genesis 1, right? everything will reproduce according to its kind. Okay, so no kind can cross with another kind. There cannot be half man, half something else. Not possible, according to God's law. And the devil cannot create life. So can the devil create strange creatures? Not really. He can't. Can he cause an illusion? Sure. Yeah, he can. They've taken photos, but I have not seen any that can be verified. Do you know what I mean? And today with software, I can make all kinds of photos too. I can show you amazing things on a photograph using Photoshop. You can Photoshop things in. So yeah, when we look at the reason for the demise of the dinosaurs, I'm going to show you. I doubt if there are dinosaurs alive today, unless they live in water. Okay, if they live totally in water, maybe there are some that survive, but they can't live on land. They can't because the conditions are not right. They won't survive.
The same goes with Nessie. I think there's some shape taken from the shape of dinosaur.
Sorry?
The Nessie, Loch Ness, I'm talking about.
Loch Ness, yes. Same thing for Loch Ness Monster, yeah. It's possible if it's a water dinosaur that it could survive. If it lived totally in water, it's possible it could survive, but that's the only way it could survive, okay? It can't live on land. Atmospheric conditions prove that it can't live on land. That's why we have no other large animals. Is it a true story? I don't know. We have to do a lot more research. People have already looked for it for years and nobody's ever found it. So, but, Yes, David, you had a question.
Wondering if animals were that big in those times,
Right.
they fit into the Noah's Ark.
Yeah, remember what I just said? He didn't have to take the big ones. Okay? He could have taken the small ones. He could have taken the teenagers or younger. And God would have arranged all this because remember, it wasn't Noah. Noah didn't go out looking for the animals. God sent them. God sent them 2 by 2 and 7 by 7. So God would have said, God is the one who planned the ark, correct?
Correct, I understand you. But
Yeah.
at that time, all the rhinoceros were big. The elephants were bigger.
Right.
God must have chosen two elephants, I'm sure. But
Yes.
big ones, because there were no small ones at that time.
Yeah, but just a minute though. Just a minute. Change your thinking a little bit. Were there baby elephants?
Oh, yeah.
Do you follow what I'm saying? So, do you see with any creature, God could have done that? God didn't have to take the big ones. He could have sent the babies, right? And the babies have to start from small and grow bigger. Yeah. Yeah, could have been the eggs, God could have sent eggs. Yeah, it's possible. Any other questions? No? I hope it's been a blessing for you, and I want to continue to help you to. My whole point is to strengthen your faith in the Bible account that God created the world. He created everything just as He said He did in 6 days and rested on the Sabbath. The memorial for creation, right? I want to strengthen your faith in that regard, and I'm hoping that that's what we're doing. Okay? Make sense? Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, my question is, I found it very interesting and quite confusing at the same time. Is how can we as people, human, populated the earth, such as the people in Australia, the Aborigine people, how they can go there,
Right.
and how do we all can scatter around the world?
Yeah, excellent question. And if you don't mind, I have information on that in the program. It's still future. And if you can be patient with me, I'll show you how it happened. There is a very logical explanation for how all the animals and man repopulated the world. Okay? Let me ask you this question. You know that koala bears live in Australia, correct? Have koala bears ever lived in the Middle East? No? Remember there was a worldwide flood? And all of the animals were on the ark? And where did the ark settle? All right, in the Middle East. And then Noah opened the door. Sorry, Pastor, I set you up. This, it's just a little humor, but you know, I mean, you have to think about it. All the animals were in the ark. And so when God opened the door for Noah, all of the animals were in the Middle East. And then they had to migrate around the world. But I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you how it happened. There is evidence to show us how it took place. We have evidence. I'm going to show you the evidence. Okay, so we'll look at that. All right. Any other questions? Thank you for your attention. Pastor, would you close the Sabbath for us? By the way, can I say something? Can I say something? If you find this a blessing, I want you to remember that the praise does not go to me. It's the Lord. I did not provide the evidence. And I want to tell you even further that I did not have the wisdom or the ability to gather all the evidence. I want to tell you that the Holy Spirit got me to look at the stuff and He told me, remember this, remember this, remember this. And so the stuff that I'm showing you, I've gathered over the past 30, 35 years. And then I'm putting it all together for you. But I'm not the one responsible for it, and I don't deserve the glory. The glory belongs to the Lord. Okay, so pass it that way. But thank you.